Hi everyone, it's Rax. Boy, do I have a doozy of a video for you today. Yesterday, I released what I thought was the strongest build ever in Path of Exile, and I linked to POB from Zizaran, and I said just follow it and you're going to win. What happened is in my stream, I got a tidal wave of questions saying that the build looked incredible and that people wanted to play it, but the POB just wasn't enough info for them to even start playing Path of Exile, even though people would like to. Makes them very hesitant to play. So one of the lovely people in my chat started writing down a bunch of questions about Path of Exile, which essentially covers everything about the game. So I have a completely different idea here for this video. I'm going to show you step by step how I look at a POB, clear the campaign, get into mapping, get the gear that I need, what I'm looking for. I'm going to try to answer all of these questions. I'm going to show you step by step. If you're a complete beginner and you want to play, and you've never played before, exactly what to do with a very specific build for this league right now, the Settlers, the Boat League, how to dominate. By the way, I have a full playthrough of that's going to follow exactly what I'm going to teach you. I'll link it down below. I completed the entire campaign in 4 hours and 59 minutes with all laps. And I'd never played the build before. I just followed the POB. So if you want to actually watch a run and watch me step by step do all these steps, that will be there for you. But let's get started. I'm going to show you, if you've never played the game before, how to look at a POB and what a POB even is, and how to get into the end game. Let's get started. All right. Before we begin, we need a couple of things. First of all, we need the guide, which is usually made in POB, which stands for Path of Building. You can either get the internet version or you can download the program Path of Building. When you get into Path of Exile, you will start to use Path of Building. It probably looks really scary right now. Oh my God. Oh, what is all this? There's all these drop downs. There's this. I don't got time for that. I could totally understand what you're saying, but it's easier than you think, and it's way more powerful than you think. So we're going to use the program later on, not for this video, but you will want to download it. It's pretty fantastic. It's nowhere near as hard as it looks, but we'll just use this version. It's really easy. This is all we need for now. If you don't want to use POB, you can go to Maxroll, go to any league starter, and click on the leveling tab. The things that I will teach you, you will understand everything in here very easily. Here's the skill tree. Here are the gems as you progress. This will all make sense later. You're going to need a loot filter. So we're following Zizaran's build. So I just looked up Zizaran on the Path of Exile site, and you follow the loot filters that you want, and then they will appear in the game. So I followed his Calgar loot filters because that's the league that we're in. So I followed them all. The last thing that you want is Awaken POE trade. Sorry for all you console people. You want this. Download, just type in Awaken POE trade. I'll put the link down below. You want this. Trust me, it will make your life a million times easier. Now we're ready to get started. Now we're going to create our character. I logged into the game, download POE. It's free. You can get it on Steam or just get it from the website. People say it's better just from the website, but if you want it on Steam, you can. It will automatically highlight the season that we're in, Settlers. We want to do this. You could pick standard, which is just non-season. You can pick hardcore. Don't pick hard for your first time. I guarantee you, you're going to die, and we need to learn. So Settlers is what we want. We don't want to go SSF because we want to have trading available. That's going to help you. And we don't want Ruthless. This makes the game impossible. So essentially, what PoE picks for you, Settlers with nothing checked, that's exactly what you want. For this particular build, we're going to pick the Templar because the Templar ascends into the Hierophant. And we know from our build guide that we want to play a Hierophant because it says right here. There's no good way to know which class ascends into what. You could just Google it. So when you see Hierophant, just Google what class ascends into Hierophant. It's the Templar. So here, by the way, grinding your games could make this easier on us, on new players. Anyway, so Rax, new build, and we log in. Here we go. Now, when you first start, we need to turn on our loot filter, and we want to open awakened PoE trades, so do that. So here we go, options, game, item filter. We just followed Zizzarin's early, mid, and end game. Let's take the early one because we're just starting. Click the refresh and hit save. Here we are. Okay, beautiful. Another thing that we need to do is we need to fix the map, and I hope that I can remember. Is this it? The landscape? Yes, this is it. Landscape transparency. Turn this all the way down. That way we can easily see the outline of the map and we don't have to see any of the other clutter. Okay, now we are ready to begin. Pick up your first item. We're going to talk to this guy, and we're going to kill this guy just by holding left click. Okay, we got Glacial Hammer. In this game, there are skill gems, and then there are support gems. The skill gems give you skills, and then you link support gems to them to deal more damage. So we start with Glacial Hammer. You're going to see it pops it up right here. I like to move with my mouse 5. So I'm going to put my mouse 5 there. You can set up your key bindings however you want. And here we go. Now, one very important thing as we're walking down the beach here is for your attacks, for a lot of them, you may want to check always attack without moving. And what this means is if I right click, no matter what, it's going to swing my skill. This is very, very strong because otherwise some attacks require you to have a target. And sometimes we don't want to run up to the boss to use a skill. Sometimes we want to use it from very far away to stay safe. So a lot of times you click on the skill and select attack without moving in order to do a lot of cool things in the game. We're going to walk forward on the beach, and it's going to give us a support gem. By the way, this isn't going to be like a 10-hour video, but I am starting very, very slow in the beginning to show you. We picked up a support gem. What a surprise. It fits perfectly into our links. So it's going to support us, and its supported skills are going to spread to other enemies. Excellent. I love that. When you get to the end of the beach, you're going to have a little boss fight. We have our flasks on the left. The red ones are going to heal us, and the blue ones are going to give us mana back. Now, you can be really lazy and just stand here and see if you can out-heal the boss. Sometimes you can get away with that. But just a little bit of movement, he's going to heal himself. We don't like that. A little bit of movement around him, counterclockwise, will go a long way. He won't be able to do anything to you. Look at that. He swung the complete wrong way. What a dumbass. Okay, we're going to kill him, and we're going to pick up all the loot, and we're going to go into town. Now, this is where we're going to look at the POB, and we're going to understand how it tells us essentially everything that we need in the game. Okay, so we talked to all the NPCs. I'm just hitting escape to skip the dialogue. Okay, we get a reward. We might wonder, oh, okay, I'm already confused. What are we going to get for our reward here? Let's go to the POB. This tells us literally everything. So right here, we have drop downs for gear. So when I pick early game, it's essentially showing you the stats that you're looking for on gear. So we'd like to dual wield wands. Okay, and it looks like cast speed, spell damage, and mana are good for us. They're just indicating to you the stats that you might be looking for. In the beginning of the game, you're not going to have jack shit. You're going to find just a bunch of garbage. That's fine. But it's nice to know what we're looking for. On the helmet, we want life and resistances. And that is essentially the summary for pretty much every leveling build in the game. Life and resistances will essentially carry almost any build through the campaign. Remember that. Life and resistances. Dex, life, mana, life, resistances, and mana. You see the theme. That's all you need is to grasp the theme here. We want 2 wands. We want life and resistances and like cast speed and mana because we're a caster. Okay, that's all we need to know. It doesn't need to be any more specific than that. Don't make it too complicated. Another thing about all these flasks, they will make more sense when you play more. You can do the entire campaign just with health flasks and mana flasks. You don't need the Quicksilver flasks to go faster. You don't need the Jade flasks. They're nice, and if you really know what you're doing, they can min-max your strategy, but let's not make it too difficult, right? This is a beginner video. Let's say it's your first time. Just simple life flasks and mana flasks will do just fine. Okay, this is the important part. This is the part where if you understand it, you will succeed. The gems for 1 to 18, the main skill they're essentially showing us that we're doing is rolling magma. This is the skill that we're going to use. And you see these little lines with the dots connected to them. That means that those are the support gems. So we want rolling magma with elemental proliferation, and we want combustion. So what that means is, first of all, what it means is we want to take rolling magma as our reward, because that's our ability that we're going to use. Okay, so we got the skill that we need. Okay, and now let's jump back here. Elemental proliferation and combustion. You can see that elemental proliferation, it says Act 1 from Nessa after you've beaten enemy at the gate. Act 1 is the act, Nessa is the NPC. Enemy at the gate is the quest that you did, and that's just, I think that's what we just did, right? We killed the guy outside the gate or whatever. We actually already have this. It gives it to you at the very start of the game. So here it is. So now I want to link rolling magma to this, but I can't do that with this because it's red linked to blue and not blue linked to blue. So I'm going to be looking for blue linked to blue because we want combustion. We will get combustion in Act 1 from Nessa after we beat the Caged Brute quest. It's going to be like level 9 or 10, and then we will get that. So right now, a good goal is to go with rolling magma and elemental proliferation, and then later we'll add combustion. If you understand that much, you're going to be fine. It is critical to understand that this is our main skill, and we want it linked this way. We will do anything that we can, even sacrificing an entire piece of gear. Let's say we have a really nice pair of boots, but then we find a pair of boots that suck, but they have the blue, 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 and they're linked. Early game, we'll switch instantly, because this is what's going to make us deal damage. Remember that. We're also going to add Frost Blink. We're going to get it from Nessa after we break some eggs. Okay, it's good. We're going to get it in Act 1. Flame Wall. We're going to get this at the same time from Nessa after we break some eggs. Oh, and we get this one also after breaking some eggs. Excellent. So we're going to get all the things that they're asking us for right away. Let's go back into the game. So here's what I've got. I've got 3 scrolls of wisdom. I got the items that dropped off the first boss. The first thing that I notice is look at this shank. It's got blue linked to red linked to blue. This has the 2 sockets that I need linked to each other. That's beautiful. So this is going away. This is going in. Rolling magma with elemental proliferation. I'm so happy. Okay, I already got the thing that I need, and I'm keeping in mind and I'm checking my POB religiously that when I complete the Caged Brute, I need to get combustion. Okay, remember that. And then we're going to be really strong. So we have from now until then to try to find a blue, blue, blue link. I don't care where it is. Could be on my weapon, could be on my hat, could be on my chest, could be on my gloves or my boots. I will give you a hint. It is a very good idea to not have your link on your weapon. Anywhere else is better. The gloves, the boots, the chest, the weapon, or the helmet, I mean. The reason why you don't want it on your weapon is because if you get a better weapon that adds a lot of damage to spells early game, if your link is in your weapon, well, then you can't take off your weapon. Because if the new weapon doesn't have the right links, you're screwed. So it's better to find it on an armor, but this is the beginning of the game. We'll take it any way that we can get it. Now, another thing about the early game. You're going to get a bunch of stuff, and the way that you identify something is you right-click the scrolls and you identify it, and you see what you got, right? You're going to find that grinding gear games does not make it easy on you. you are not going to get very many scrolls of wisdom, certainly not enough to identify all of the gear that you find. You're not going to get many scrolls of town portal either. So you got to remember this. If you get a bunch of items and you don't have the wisdoms or whatever to identify them, just sell them and don't worry about it. I'm control left clicking to put it in the sell thing. Sell, 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 sell. It has a gem in it. You're going to lose the gem. That's the crappy gem we started with. I don't care. That's fine. And then you're going to get some basic currency for it. As you build up your basic currency, you will be able to get more scrolls of wisdom. Let me tell you some hints real quick. Let me show you a couple of them. Okay, so if you get portal scrolls, they take you back home if you're out in the wild, right? Okay, if I'm here and if I want to go home, I can lay a portal scroll. You can key bind it to whatever key that you want in the key bindings. I have mine to T for town, like Diablo. You can go home whenever you want. You hit T and you walk through and you're back in town. You want to know a much better way to do it than that? Hit escape and log out to character select and then hit enter. And guess where I am? I'm back in town. Now, why is that important? It's important because every portal scroll that you pick up, you can vendor it for scrolls of wisdom to identify your items. If you get scrolls of transmutation, you can vendor them for scrolls of wisdom. Now, you can also do it with alterations. People got mad at me in my beginner's guide. They said alts are more valuable. So try not to vendor alts if you can avoid it. But you can sell your scrolls of wisdom and your transmutes your portal scrolls and your scrolls of transmutes for more scrolls of wisdom. So you can identify your gears so you can get better stuff. All right. So we're about ready to cut to a different part here, but just to show you, click here, attack without moving. That way I can throw the rolling magmas however I want. And rolling magma, you kind of want to throw it. First of all, you can get a bunch of enemies to chase you and then throw it behind you to get a lot of XP. That's a good way to play. Another thing is, if you're on the boss, if you throw it a very specific way right in front of him, you can hit him with multiple bounces. That's going to give you a little bit more damage. So, okay, maybe I'm very brave. I'm going to run through here. See how I run forward and I just throw one backward, nice and easy. Scroll of Wisdom, do not pass those. Pick them up. That way we can identify our items. And you just walk on through and start completing quests. Now, let me show you one more thing. Let's say you got screwed, right? You didn't get as lucky as me. You didn't get the blue by default. Oh, I'm out of portal scrolls? No problem. Exit to character screen, enter. And by the way, when you do that, when you want to get back to where you were, just port to whatever waypoint you were just at. One more thing. If you didn't get what you wanted in the very beginning, you can go over here to the right and go to purchase and kind of look around. We're looking for blue, link to blue. Oh, these boots are perfect. One scroll of wisdom for the boots that I need. You'll pay that all day long. Here's another one. Perfect. That works fine. Blue linked with blue. And you can kind of look around at the different vendors and see if they have what you're looking for. If you just get totally screwed, they don't have anything that you need, you don't have the currency to buy it, don't overthink it. It's fine. Start with just rolling magma. Run around just with rolling magma, but be aware that the top priority is getting those 3 links that you need, and then you're going to be cruising. So let's skip ahead a little bit. Now you should be able to play and understand some basic stuff. Let's jump forward a little bit and see what's next. One very complicated thing can be made into the simplest thing pretty much that there is in the game. Every time you level up, you're going to get passive points. You can click this or hit P, and you're going to be greeted with the first of many giant monstrosities, and this is the passive tree for you to essentially make your build. So it is both the most complicated thing you'll ever see and the most not complicated thing you'll ever see. Don't be intimidated by this because you don't have to deal with this at all. Just follow the guide. So if we go here at level 12, it shows you're going to start over here, and it just tells you path up right this way, and then grab these 2, and then come on down here and grab these. You don't even have to read them if you don't want to. Don't worry about it. Okay, no problem. Okay, I start over here. Okay, this is weird. I can either start here or here. Okay, I can't quite remember. Which one was it? Okay, it was the one on the right. All right, boom, no problem. And then you want to know what I'm going to do? I'm going to path right up here exactly as it told me. You can tab back and forth. You can put it on your other monitor as many times as you want. Don't be intimidated by it because you don't have to do anything with it except for connect the dots. That's what the guide is for. The game is almost impossible when you first start to make your own build guide, and that might discourage some players, I understand, but we need to learn first, right? So we're going to take a build guide from the experts. So just fill it in, and then when you've got all those points in, no problem, level 25. Okay. Looks like, okay, you can flip back and forth. All right, it grabs these two, okay. And then it walks over here. Okay, it goes up and grabs this, and it goes down and it grabs this. No problem. We grab these two, we go over here, we go up, it grabs this, and then we go down over here. Just follow it. You can double check it a million times. And you want to know what? Oh, you screwed one up. You messed it up. It's fine. You get a bunch of refund points. The refund points are like infinite in the end game. You can either respec with gold or you can respec with regrets. Not a big deal. Don't stress about this. Just follow the guide, and the passive tree is, it's honestly the easiest thing in the game if you got a build guide. All right. The next important thing that you must understand, and I've switched to my really powerful character here, is when you're going through the campaign, some of the zones right here will have a green text that says, solve the trials of ascendancy. And you'll look around on the floor and you will find this bronze monograph and you will find a trial of ascendancy. What this is, it's a very short, like 30-second puzzle with traps. You see, I'm going to run through all of these little spikes. And when you there's 12 of these in total in the campaign, and beating these will allow you to do something called the lab to get significantly stronger. This is not optional. You must do this. And it's much better to do them as you see them throughout the campaign. So whenever you see this, go ahead and get through it here. Okay, you can use your little jumps to get through. And when you get to the end, you're going to see this little plaque. Click it, and it's going to give you credit for it. Here are the first 6. It'll tell you what act they're in and the different areas. You can, of course, Google it. There's a guide on Maxroll. Very easy to understand where they are. But you don't even have to remember where they are, because in Act 3, when you get there, there will be a little board, and it will show you which ones you have missed. So when you get to Act 3, you'll go over here, and it's going to show you the ones that you're missing. Okay, it just has the door open for me because I've already beaten it. But you would be able to mouse over it right here in town, and it will show you the ones that you haven't done. In your guide, it might say, hey, at this inflection point at level 30 or something, go do the first lab. Oh, at level 55, go do the second lab. And one very important hint about the third lab is the third lab coincides with the very, very end of the campaign. So you can go do it pretty much right at the very end here before you fight the final boss. Make sure that you beat the third lab before you kill the final boss. It's the lab and then the boss. The reason why is after you kill the final boss, it lowers your resistances tremendously for the rest of the game to make it harder for you when you go to mapping, which is something that you're going to have to solve. You don't want to have to solve it and then go to the lab. It'll make it harder. So do the lab first and then do the boss. I'm not going to do a full lab here, but just to show you what it looks like, if you were going to do the very first one, after solving the first 6 little trials, you'd click here and you'd hit activate, and you'd go through la. There is a website called POE Lab. The lab changes every day, but the POE Lab website will have the full layout for you and teach you exactly where to go. Not surprisingly, the first lab is not too difficult. If you die at all in the lab, you will have to restart it though. So that's annoying. So try to stay alive, otherwise you're going to be mad. Okay, but you just kind of go on through and you can see a map of where you're going. So this is going to take me, this door will take me to the boss room. I guess I'll fight the boss and show you what he looks like. You have to beat him 3 times. So, and a lot of times he has like little traps or little gizmos in the corners. If you kill them or activate them, it usually makes him easier. So I might kill his little mirror here and then wait for another one to come up. Okay, if I attack him, I'm going to kill him instantly because this is my Giga Chad character. Okay, I killed him instantly, but you get the idea. You would progress forward and then you would beat it. At the very end, there's an altar to click in the back corner of the room. Click it and it will let you ascend. And when you ascend, then you are going to pick your beautiful little talents for your ascendancy. And of course, in the POB, it tells you exactly what to pick. So we go to normal lab and you can see it gives you 2 points when you beat the first lab. It says to go this and this, conviction of power. Problem, back in here, you would click these 2. And then when you do the second lab, of course, Cruel Lab, you would pick these 2. Then the one right before the final boss, you'd pick those. And finally, the 4th lab, when you get into maps, you pick that. Not surprisingly, you see this layout matches exactly what I have picked because I followed the guide. All right, this part is extremely important, so we must pay attention here. Somewhere in Act 2, you're going to unlock your hideout. We want to go there immediately. So once you get the quest for your hideout, you will go there. You can get there by clicking the waypoint at any time in the future and click travel to your hideout. Your hideout will not look like mine. My hideout is a big, beautiful hideout from hideoutshowcase.com or something like that. You can Google it. You can download a bunch of hideouts that you would like. But what you will have is this little crafting bench. It'll be like a little room with a crafting bench. And boy, is the crafting bench our friend. So again, the main rule about staying alive in the campaign is life and resistances. When you press C and go to defense, you want fire, cold, and lightning to be 75. If it's not 75, you will get hit way harder by those elements. It really matters. So we want to put all of those resistances on our gear. Chaos doesn't really matter so much. There's barely any chaos in the campaign. So if your chaos res sucks, don't worry about it. We'll solve it later. And then usually just stacking as much life as you can is a very, very good idea. So let's take any belt here. Let me make it rare so we can mess around with it. And we just throw it on into the bench. If you hold Alt over an item, you will see for every affix on the left side, whether it's a prefix or a suffix. So mana is a prefix, energy shield is a prefix, lightning and stun and strength are suffixes. So we have 2 prefixes and 3 suffixes. In general, you can only have 3 prefixes and 3 suffixes. So we got 2 and 3. So that means we have 1 prefix open. So when you throw it into your crafting bench, it's going to let you craft a bunch of different prefixes. By the way, when you go through the campaign, you will see these little indications of like a little crafting thing. If you click on it, you will learn recipes. Whenever you see that, make sure that you click them. So the prefix that you almost always want is life. And the suffixes would be whatever of the 3 resistances you're missing. Also, sometimes you are missing an attribute to wear a gem or something. If you need a specific attribute, you could also consider crafting that. But since I've got capped resistances, again, they're all 75. And since I can craft life, that's almost always the answer. You will see as you level up further that there are different tiers. Level 1 is like the baby life. Level 2 is more life, but it's more expensive. And then this is the most expensive one. Real simple rule, just use the cheapest one. It's totally fine. There we go. I got the Maxroll. See, that's how you do it, boys. Just like that. There you go. Make sure you're checking regularly when you get new items. Go to your hideout. Again, go to the waypoint and go to your hideout. Walk over to your crafting bench. First thing you do, see defenses. Make sure these are all 75. If they aren't, craft the lowest one and move it up. Otherwise, just throw life on everything. Then we look at the weapons. So we are playing with Rolling Magma. Right under Rolling Magma, someone wants to buy some of my stuff. I should have turned that off. Right under Rolling Magma, you see Spell, AoE, Fire, Projectile, Chaining. That's going to tell you essentially what is buffing it up. Pay attention to the fact that Rolling Magma is fire. I mean, that makes sense. It's literally magma, right? So if we look at these two wands, when we look at this, the Quartz wand adds 2 to 4 cold damage to all of your spells and attacks. Since we're doing a spell, and since it's fire, so we're going to look for bonuses to spells and fire if we can. I can tell you that flat damage, that 2 to 4 flat damage to spells in the early game is very strong. It's like a big damage increase. So that's a very good implicit. An implicit means an item that's, or a stat that's always on an item. So a Quartz wand is always going to have that damage to spells and attacks. That's why it's separated by those 2 lines from the other stats. The other stats are random rolls. 39% fire damage. Wow, this is sounding real good. Attack speed usually is different from cast speed, so that's not very good. Mana regeneration rate. We use mana, and it has a resistance on it. So this wand is incredible for early game. This is amazing. So we would use this, and hopefully we would have a 3 link with our blues to move our link to somewhere else. Let's look at this one. Minions deal 14% increased damage. Does this have anything to do with minions? Spell, AoE, fire, projectile, chaining? I mean, not really. 24% increased spell damage. That's nice. Lightning damage? That doesn't help us. We're doing fire damage. 1 to 4 lightning damage to spells. That's flat damage. We like that. Critical strike chance. I think there is spell critical strike chance, so I don't even think that works. Maximum mana is good. Mana and regeneration rate is good. And the minion damage is bad. Okay, so it's not the greatest wand ever. Probably as you get higher, the 39% fire damage and the fact that it has a resistance on it is probably going to be a little bit better. Okay, so we go over here and we throw it on our crafting bench. The wand is an exception to where maybe you don't do life and resistances. Here we can craft flat spell damage. So if we crafted the baby one, wow, I didn't even learn the baby recipe in the campaign. That's a fail. We'd probably want to go fire damage, right? To synergize with our percent increased fire damage and our fire damage support stuff. So if I had the baby fire damage, I would do that. But since this is the only one I got, boom. And this wand at level 19 with this build is going to absolutely erase the game. So I just wanted to show you an example of how you would craft prefixes and suffixes, life and resistances, and how you're kind of looking for better gear. You're looking for links all the time. Because if you look at your POB, when you first start off, right, you don't need many sockets or links. You need 1 3-link blue and 2 blues and 1 red gem anywhere. So that's very easy to acquire. But as you get a little bit further, okay, now we need a couple more blue sockets. This is still not bad at all. Fine. But we get a little bit further, and now we're starting to actually link some stuff together. So that's a big thing to look out for. I will tell you another thing that people get trapped in all the time. So when you're going through the campaign, you might have your gems in your weapons and your gear, and you'll click the plus sign over here to level them up as you're going through the game. Now, you might find a new belt and say, oh, this belt is way better than this belt. Okay, fine. So you swap it out, and then you'll notice some of your gear turns red. And you're like, wait, what? and you can't figure out why. Well, your old belt probably had a stat on it that you needed to wear your other items. Sorry, I'm losing my voice here. I'm trying to see if there would be an example on my gear. If I take this off, does it brick anything? No. So I don't have an exact example right here. But if you took the belt off, something would turn red and you'd mouse over it and it would say, have big red text and it would say, you see in the middle where it says 237 int, it'd be like, nope, you don't have 237 int. And it would tell you if it's either from the item or whether it's from the gem. But somehow you made some change and you don't have enough int anymore. And now you're mad and now you can't figure out what to do. Well, you have a few options. First of all, you can just put back on the other item and carry on as you were. Or on your new item or one of your pieces that is not crafted yet on your bench, you could add whatever you're missing if you have the open slot for it. So maybe I would go in here and say, oh, I'm missing strength. Okay. If I add 20 strength, it would solve it. Boom. It costs a scouring orb, which is very rare to get early on. But hey, if you can't progress, then you're in trouble. Another option that you have while you're leveling, I know that we're following the POB exactly because we don't know what we're doing. But if you're ever desperately needing a certain stat, on these nodes, you'll see sometimes they branch off and they're offering you the two things that you might be missing, a big chunk of it, 30 dex or 30 strength. It is perfectly fine to invest a point or two into these so you can wear your gear and keep going. So if you have an extra point, punch it into the dex, and then you'll be fine. Another option that you have, let's say you're playing with rolling magma. It would be, you don't want to do it with your main skill. This would be bad for your main skill. But let's say it was one of your other skills, elemental proliferation, the one that we were using in the very beginning. And elemental proliferation just requires too much int, and you just can't figure out how to make it work anymore, and you're just hating life. Well, you can go back to your POB and see that you got it in Act 1 from Nessa. Okay. Go back to Act 1, purchase, and go to her gems, and type in elemental prolif. You can buy a new gem from her. Hopefully it will be a lower level, and then you can continue. It'll be a lower level, so it'll have a lower requirement, and then you'll be fine. Later on in the game, you can buy a level 1 gem in your hideout. When you invite Lily to your hideout, she's got pretty much everything. So you could go here and type elemental proliferation, and there it is, and it's level 1. One final hint, I'm just going to give you all the hints while I'm here. When you're in Act 3, when you go to the Imperial Gardens, up here there is a quest in the library. There is an NPC in the library that will sell you a ton of gems as well. She can help you as well. So if that ever happens to you, try to figure out the stat that you're missing. Try to craft it on your bench. Try to grab these two little nodes right here. You can just search for strength or dex or whatever you're missing. They always look like this. They always branch out from a node exactly like this. Not too hard to find. And that will help you. All right. Now, let's go back to the POB and see exactly what it tells us. So we're leveling up, level 31. Okay, cool. This is kind of the same thing. We add a couple of extra items, no problem. Or a couple of extra gems, I mean. At level 31, boom, wait a minute. Rolling magma is gone. And now we're doing Firestorm. Okay, I'm getting Firestorm in Act 3. Okay. Archmage in Act 3, Lightning Pen, Inspiration, and Intensify. Okay, this is totally different. These things are different too. And again, Act 2, Yena, Act 1, Nessa, da-da-da-da-da. So what you would do is you would literally go through and buy all of these. So I don't know if I did the quest, A Fixture of Fate, in Act 3 on this character, but we're about to find out. Let's see if we've got it here. So all of these are supposed to be here with Clarissa. So do I have Firestorm? Yes, I do. So I would go through and go get all of those gems. We go on a little shopping spree. Again, the POB tells you where to go by just mousing over it. Act 3, Syosa or Clarissa. Okay, Clarissa seems to have all of it. We just buy it all right here, right? Okay, now what I want is it shows you a 5 link. A 5 link is very hard to find in the campaign. You probably won't find it. So at a minimum, we want Firestorm linked with Archmage, linked with Lightning Pen. You would just directly switch it from what you were doing with your Rolling Magma. But we really want to try to add that 4th slot, and it's going to be red. So I need a 4 link with blue, 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 red. Maybe you got lucky, and maybe you just find it playing the game. That's actually what happened to me in my playthrough. I was literally just commenting, okay, I need a blue, 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 red linked, and then it dropped. That's what's called being on the streamer server. But that might not happen for you. So how would we do this? Okay, I'm lagging. Did the PoE servers just die or what? Sorry about that, guys. My game crashed. We're back in. Okay, anyway. So if you're not on the streamer server and it doesn't just drop for you naturally, well, we're going to be looking for that, obviously, from all of our gear. But you can go to the vendors again and kind of snoop around and see what they've got. Okay, so not this vendor. We want to go to Kira. Okay. Now I'm looking for, okay, I can't remember. What is it again? Just check the POB. You don't got to remember anything. Blue, 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 red. And then if we can, we'd get a 4th blue. Okay, we're never going to get 5 link. Here we go. Blue, 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 green. Okay, that's really close, and there is a way you can manipulate this to try to get what you want, which of course we'll try. So we buy this for 1 alt, no problem. Do we see any 4 links here? Here's blue, 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 but it's not linked. Linking it is difficult. So when you're very early in the game, because they cost orbs of fusing, and fusings don't grow on trees. So maybe we wouldn't mess with these, but whatever. I'll just buy it anyway for fun. Okay. Now, we go to the stash. And by the way, these tabs that make organizing everything very easy are part of the way that Path of Exile makes money. The game is free. So you want to buy the currency tab, the map tab, and a premium quad tab. I would say that's the bare minimum to play the game. So that's what you'll need. But anyway, your currency might just be scattered around in this, and that's fine. So we're going to look for a chromatic essence. You'll probably have a couple of these from playing, okay? So you'll have a few of them, and it just changes the colors. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This might be a little bit confusing, but this is super important, so I'm going to tell you anyway. If you look at these gloves, do you see how they have energy shield at the top? And that's all that they have. Energy shield 26, and that's it. There are 3 kinds of defense that an armor piece can have. Energy shield, strength, or evasion. You must correlate them to a color. Energy shield is kind of blue, right? It's kind of spellcasty. It's blue. Armor is red, and evasion is green. One more time. Energy shield blue, armor red, evasion green. So what that means is when you use chromes on something that's pure energy shield, you're most likely to get blue sockets, which is very good news for us because we want blue, 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 red. So we want mostly blue. So that's great. If I was trying to re-roll this, it's all energy shield. So we're going to get mostly blue. That's good because we went blue, 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 red. Same logic. But if I re-rolled this one, for example, it has a lot of armor and a little bit of energy shield. We would expect a mixture of red and blue, which is also kind of good for us, right? It might be hard to get the 3 blue there, but we should get a mixture of blue and red. It's not guaranteed. You could re-roll this and get a bunch of greens, but it's much less likely. The reason why I'm telling you this is it's important when you're going through the campaign. Do you notice how almost every color here is blue? So you want to find stuff with energy shield on it. That way you'll actually have a chance to get the right colors. So let's say, I don't know, at this point you found 7 chromes. Can I make this a blue, 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 red to actually play? Let's try it once. Okay, that's a lot, way too many red. I'm very surprised at that result. Let's try again. Okay, quad blue. And remember, okay, we wouldn't be able to slot the red in there, but we could go Firestorm with Archmage, Lightning Pen, and Intensify. So that's good. That's almost what we wanted. So that's not bad. So if you ran out of chromes and you had a quad blue, there's nothing wrong there. Okay, close, not quite. Okay, we're back to all blue. That would have been perfect if that would have been red. Boom, got it. And now we would go with this. Perfectly fine. Throw this on, and your Firestorm, you would put in those gems, the new ones, and we showed you where to go from the POB. And now you're going to be absolutely destroying. Firestorm is so strong. I heard it's illegal in 36 different countries. Well, another question that people have is, so if I don't have the right stuff to switch to the crazy thing for maps, I don't have this gem. I don't have all this stuff. Like, what am I supposed to do? You can definitely keep playing with Firestorm a decent way into maps, farm some currency, farm some stuff, no problem at all. This will carry you. You'll see in the playthrough that I link below, when I got Firestorm going, I was just obliterating everything. Nothing even had a chance. Very fun to play with. You're going to completely dominate once that's going. So that was just an example here. Let's mess around with these gloves too. So let's say we chrome them a couple of times. Okay, we're hoping for 1 red. Oh, dang it. Oh, boom, I got him. Now, you can get 3 links here, but you would need the 4th. So what you can do if you have a couple armor scraps lying around, it's supposed to be easier to do this at low levels. You can quality it up to 20. Use a couple of armor scraps here to get the quality to 20. Then maybe you only have like 3 fusings. That's all you've found. We're going to try to fuse it and make it a 4 link. Boom, 1 try. That's how you do it. That's what we call the streamer server. Boom. Now these gloves are perfect. Again, you go to your hideout, you go to your crafting bench, throw something on them, throw in your 4 links, and those are your gloves. It's just as easy as that. And that's how you do the swap mid-game. All right, we started with a huge list of questions. I'm taking a look at the list now, and there's 4 remaining that I have not answered. Let's hit all 4 of them because I want to make sure that we get all the questions from the chat today. So, I don't have enough mana to cast all of my auras. I don't think there's any universe where you will have this problem with this build, because really all we use is clarity, and then I think later we add in wrath. And that's all that you have for auras. And an aura is just where you turn it on and it reserves some of your mana away. And then you just always get that buff. By the way, there is another skill bar. If you did not know, if you hold control, you get access to another skill bar. So what are we going to do about this? If you are playing a build where you have, it tells you take this aura and this aura and this aura and this aura, and it takes away so much of your mana that you can't actually cast your skill, just simply remove one of the auras. Another thing that you can do is you can look at, is there any way to add mana to your gear? Are you just barely missing enough or something like that? Another thing, this is a little bit more advanced. If you take a look at the passive tree, the tree might have told you to navigate to certain nodes that buff mana reservation of skills. And maybe that tree is coming up in a few levels and you can see it. Oh, next I'm going to path to these mana reservation nodes. After you have those passives, that might give you enough mana to turn everything on. Another option is if you've leveled up your auras very high, some of them actually have a much lower cost at a lower level. So you can go over here and try buying lower level versions of your gems, and then the mana cost will go down. Another hint is when you're leveling up stuff over here and you don't want to level it up anymore, instead of left clicking the plus to level it up, you right click it, and then in your inventory, it'll come down here and it won't level up anymore. If you ever decide, hey, I want to level it up again, click the plus sign and it'll start leveling again. The next question is, where can I find the bandits and which ones that I should help kill? Well, usually every guide somewhere will tell you which bandit to help, or it'll say kill all. So this says to help Creighton, but it's pretty simple to understand. If you save Creighton, you're going to get movement speed, chance to avoid ailments, and attack and cast speed. If you save Alira, you're going to get mana regen, a global crit multiplier, and resistances. And for Oak, you're going to get life regen, physical damage reduction, and physical damage. And if you kill them all, you get an extra passive point. In general, follow whatever your guide says. So here we can see Bandit Creighton, which would mean we help Creighton. This is in Act 2, by the way. A general rule of thumb is help Alira, because if you're new, 15 all res will be godly for you when you're trying to solve your defenses to be all 75. Don't stress about this decision because you can change it later. If you accidentally kill them all or you help the wrong one, it doesn't matter. You can fix it later. It has a very small impact on the rest of the game. Don't worry too much about it. I can't cast Firestorm due to a lack of mana. Again, shouldn't be a problem on this build. You first of all, we're going for mana, and you're not using that many auras. I do not know why you would have that problem. Make sure you're taking mana flasks to use when you're out of mana. At least 2 would be nice for leveling up through the game. When your mana gets low, press the flask, and your mana goes back up. It's that simple. Another thing is, in the end game, you don't need a mana flask, and you see the teal text here used when charges are full. Maybe you can't see it. Maybe my webcam is blocking it kind of in the middle there. You can even automate your flasks. I never press my flasks in the end game except for my health potion when I need it. It's really nice. So you're not going to have to play piano tiles for the rest of your life. If you for some reason, if your character is so bricked that you can't cast Firestorm at all, you could go back to rolling magma for a while until you get more mana. And remember that you're linking inspiration to Firestorm. So that red socket is pretty important. And the red socket should help you with your mana. Okay, it doesn't tell you what inspiration is there. But if we go over here and we want to buy it and we type inspiration right here. Okay. So supported skills cost 25% less mana. It's pretty important to have that. The last question that I did not cover is, I don't know where to go in the campaign. Fair question. Whenever you go to the waypoint here anywhere, it has the axe up here. And down here, it has the quests. Everything in gray you have completed. Everything over here you have not completed. You can just go ahead and complete everything on your first playthrough. It's fine. A dirty job. Do you see how it highlights it? It's right here. So in order to get to that zone, I check, okay, I don't have a waypoint here. Okay. Do I have this waypoint? No. And this is telling me when it's just an empty circle, it means there is no waypoint here. There's nothing to find. So I'd have to port here, walk to the mudflats, and then find the connecting portal there. Here, for example, it's telling me there is a waypoint in the ledge. I just missed it. And you have to walk, just barely walk close to the waypoint and it will activate. So just follow along and go to your waypoint, click on the quests, and it will tell you where to go. Complete them all, then go to the next act. Okay, this one. The Great White Beast, start at the camp, walk this way, and then walk this way. If you walk to the crossroads, you know you've gone the wrong way. That'll show you where to go. This one is weird. Einhar's Menagerie. What am I going to do with that? It doesn't tell me where to go. If you go to the town in Act 2, you'll see Einhar is right here. and you can visit it right here. So that's how we get there. You can also access it from right here. So that should explain to you how to get to the campaign, and that should hopefully answer all of the questions that I had for the campaign. So we beat the campaign, and we did the third lab before we did the final boss, because we remembered it's going to lower all of our resistances. And now it's time for the fun part. Now the game really begins. So the first thing that I would say is the basic rules at the start of the endgame apply for what we were doing the entire campaign. You want a lot of life, and you want a lot of resistances. You want these to all be as close to 75 as possible. If they're not right away, that's fine, but that's the first order of business always. Now, there's 10 trillion things that I could teach you about the endgame, but I want to teach you the basics so you can get in there and just start blasting. So let's understand the basics about mapping and the Atlas tree. So the basics are, you should purchase the map tab from the Path of Exile store. If you don't have this, the endgame is going to be a miserable experience for you. It's pretty much mandatory. You will also want to buy the currency tab and one premium quad tab. In total, it's going to be about, I don't know, 35 bucks USD if nothing is on sale. For the currency tab, when you have it, right-click it and select the affinity as currency. What that will do is whenever you get currency, okay, you're running around in maps, la 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 la, you found this currency. When you go to your stash, no matter what tab you're in, if you hold control and left click it, do you see how it's not going into this tab? Instead, it places it perfectly in the currency tab. Same thing with the map tab. Right click it, affinity map. Whenever you get maps, if you control left click it, it'll put it in the perfect little tab for you very nicely. So think of it like Pokemon. You got to catch them all, right? We want to complete one of every map. If we press G, here is a picture of every map. And you can see there's 115 of them. There's lots to do in this game. It's fun. So we're just going to go through and complete all the maps little by little by little. That's why it feels good that you're progressing every time you log into PoE. Even if you only have time to log in for 30 minutes, do a couple of maps and you log off, you will have made progress. And that's very nice. So you might be wondering, well, okay, I'm making progress toward what? What does that do for me? Another big ass tree. Hell yeah. Every time you complete a map, you get an additional point. This tree is actually much easier to understand than the other one. It looks like another giant monstrosity. It's actually very simple. In Path of Exile, in its history, it's had different leagues. The Arch Nemesis League, the Harvest League. This is the Settlers of Calgur League, the Boat League. There's a league every few months, right? A lot of these leagues have mechanics, ways to play the endgame. And what Grinding Gear Games does is they take it out of the game, they fine-tune it, and then they put it back in the game. That way, Path of Exile has a lot of content. This is super excellent for the veterans of the game because they know all of this stuff and they can benefit from it. But as a beginner, it's very overwhelming. Oh, here, have 20 leagues of stuff in a tree and figure it all out. We do the same strategy here as with the other thing. It's very easy. For this build guide, you want to know what we're going to do? We're going to do Legion, and that's it. Forget all the other ones. Legion is very easy to understand. We click a giant purple thing, and then a bunch of monsters spawn on the map, and they're frozen, and there's a timer. We kill them, and when the timer reaches 0, then they pop up, and we kill them again, and they give us rewards. So this whole tree is pathing around and grabbing everything that makes Legion really good. But if you wanted to do something else, maybe you want to pick flowers. That's literally one of them, picking flowers. That would be harvest. If you go to Maxroll, it has all the guides there, whatever you want to do. You want to do harvest, you want to do legion, whatever one you want to do. If you go up here and you type legion, it's kind of hard to see because the highlighting in this thing sucks, but you will see it's highlighting, it's flashing all the stuff that deals with legion. And if you left click on it, you can see the big purple, I better not say what I think they look like. Oh, well, whatever. The big purple penises everywhere. You notice how we navigated pretty much to all of them and cherry picked all the best nodes. By the way, this is Fubgun's. He's a content creator. It's his tree. So shout out to Fubgun, Maxroll content creator, big blaster. So this is his Legion tree. Copy it. That's it. But just understand that's all that this tree is. You pick something that you really like Legion or Harvest or anything. You'll learn them as you go. Don't worry about it. Like, you'll interact with something. Oh, what's this? I don't know what this is. Just interact with it. Oh, I don't understand that at all. That's fine. Nobody does on their first try. Just kind of mess around with it. But Legion is simple to understand. Click the purple thing, stuff spawns, you got a timer, kill them, then they pop up, kill them again. They give you rewards. Easy to understand. This build is good with Legion, so that's what we're going to do. We're following the build guide. Easy. I'll put the link down below for how to follow through with the tree. Easy mode. Okay, so back to the maps. Let's go to the map tab. Okay, there's actually 17 tiers. Forget about tier 17. That's like super hard. Let's start with the first 16 tiers. Notice how they are divided into white color, yellow color, and red color. This is for a reason. In order to get credit for these maps, you have to meet certain requirements. So, for example, for the white maps, the rarity of the map has to be blue or higher. For the yellow maps, it has to be yellow or higher. And for red maps, it has to be yellow and corrupted. That probably didn't mean anything to you. No problem, I got you. So, the white maps just have to be blue. Easy. Let's take this Dunes Where's My Car right here. I want to run this map, but if I throw it in my map device and then I hit activate, it'll open 6 portals. Those are your 6 lives to complete it. I won't get credit for it because it's not at least blue. Easy to fix. Go over here, go to the currency tab. And now's the time to actually read all that stuff that you picked up in the campaign. Orb of Transmutation makes a normal item, a white item, into a magic item, a blue item. Boom. Easy. You can see it's going to give you some benefits at the top, and it's going to make more magic monsters, and the monsters are going to do more damage. Okay. Really, there are a couple of affixes that are terrible. For example, if it ever says the monsters reflect elemental damage, you cannot do this because we only do elemental damage. You'll throw one spell, they'll reflect it back at you, and you'll die instantly. So if you ever see elemental reflect, it's a no-go. But this is fine. Now that it's blue, now we can run it. We go here, we put it in the thing, we activate it, we kill the boss, and we win. You might wonder, how do you know I'm in the map? I don't know if I beat it or not. If you hit tab in the top right corner, if you have killed the boss, it will say map complete. If it says map complete, then you beat it. Okay? And if it doesn't, you didn't kill the boss. You need to go kill the boss. Now, you might wonder, how am I supposed to keep track of which ones I've done and which ones I haven't done? 2 ways to do it. First of all, with the map tab, if you have beaten it, it will have this bar underneath the map highlighted. You can see all of mine are highlighted because I have beaten everything, right? You can see in the T17 maps, none of them are highlighted because I haven't beaten them, okay? And you can see in the unique maps, I haven't done this one, Are there any others? I haven't done this one. I haven't done this one. So there's a couple more I got to find still. Okay. So that's how to make the maps blue for the beginner ones. But what about these ones? Well, similar process. We grab the Castle Ruins map right here. We go to our currency, and this time we're going to use Orbs of Alchemy. Normal item to rare item. Boom. We put on our little glasses here, and we make sure that it says monsters cannot reflect elemental damage. If it says that, forget it. You actually can't do it with this build. Now, if it does say that, but you really need to complete this map, like you need to get this for your Atlas passive tree, you can scour it, which makes it removes all modifiers. Boom, back to white, and then re-alch it. Boom, an alchemy orb. It's called alching it. Okay, and there we go. Now, let me show you a Grandmaster trick. So let me make sure Awaken POE trade is on. It isn't, so let me boot that up real quick. And I'm going to show you a beautiful trick with Awaken POE trade. And then in the next step, I'm going to show you another trick with it. This is just such a beautiful thing. So when you're in when Awaken POE trade is on, you can hold Shift and press space. Okay, now for map rolling, you can click the edit button. Boink. Okay. Then you would add a rule. I'll just make the same thing. And we're playing Archmage Ice Nova right now. Okay. Then it says put your text or a regex or a regular expression. Now, what the hell does that mean? A regular expression is just a way, like a coding language, I guess, to filter things. So, for example, there is a lovely website called POE.re for regular expression. By the way, you're not going to have to remember any of this because I'm just going to give you the regular expression. But just look at this for a moment. Go to map mods. What I can do here is one time and one time only. I'm going to go through and I'm going to pick all the stuff that I don't want to see. If monsters reflect elemental damage, forget it. If I can't regenerate my life, forget it. If I have less recovery rate, forget it. If I can't leech off of the monsters, forget it. If they get a ton of extra physical damage, no. If they have more life, I don't want to make them harder. I don't want to ever see these affixes on my maps. So it gives you this matrix code looking thing. Okay, we just copy it, or you can hit copy here. Okay, back in, shift space, and you do need the quotations, by the way. Okay, and I would paste that in. You can see it's exactly the same as the rule I already have. I'll just give you the thing. Okay, save. And now, whenever I'm playing the game and Awaken POE trade is on, if I'm wondering if these are good or not, do these maps have good modifiers or not? I have no idea. You want to know what you could do? You could look step by step by step and read every line. That's going to take way too long. We don't got all day. We got 3 wives, 5 kids, and we can only play for 5 minutes a month, right? So if I spam them all into this tab, I go shift space to open this rule I just made, and I click it, it's going to look through all of them. If it highlights it, it's good to go. And if it doesn't, it's bad. It's got something that you marked that you don't want. Oh, so it's the less recovery rate of life and energy shield. It says this one is terrible. Okay, well, remember what we just learned. We can scour it to remove all of its modifiers. Then we alch it, boink, and this one's good because it's highlighted. And if it wasn't good, we'd scour and alch it again. Okay, so people told me when I first started playing PoE, people told me don't bother with regular expressions because they're too complicated. Bro, they're not complicated at all. You go to the website and you pick the stuff that you want, hit shift space, you make one rule, and it saves you hours and hours and hours of reading. Can any of you even read? I can't. Regular expressions being complicated. Fake news. Make sure that you use them. I'll give you the regular expression for this build, but try to make one yourself. And as you get better at PoE, you'll learn to make regular expressions for a ton of things. It'll just save you a bunch of time. Not hard to understand at all. The final thing here, the red maps, you need to alch them. So you need to make them yellow and you need to corrupt them. So we alch them, okay? And you do want to make sure that it has the modifiers you want. In this case, it's got terrible things. It's got physical extra damage, and it's got less recovery rate. So that's bad. But let's say it was good. Then you're going to corrupt it. And what these Val orbs do is it modifies an item unpredictably. Oh boy. So it could do nothing. It could completely change all of the modifiers. It could even change the map. Like, we really want to do a Bramble Valley. Well, what if it changes it to a different map that we already have? By the way, before I forget, another thing I was going to tell you, there's two ways. Let's cancel out of this so it stops giving me that annoying message. There's two ways. I told you there were two ways to check the map. The first thing is with the bar underneath. The other way is to hold Alt on the map. If you hold Alt, then Bramble Valley is going to show you that it's complete. That's another way to do it. Anyway, we alch it, and now we need to corrupt it. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Okay, nothing happened. That's why you make the map really good in the beginning. That way, if it does nothing to it, you still have a good map. And then if we ran this, then we would get credit for it. Okay? So it's as simple as that. So that's how the mapping works. One final thing that I will tell you is there's this lovely guy named Kirak. Kirak, when you run, you should run all the maps that you have naturally to fill in all these bars at the bottom first. Then this lovely little guy named Kirak is going to start accumulating missions in the different tiers. You can click on him, and sometimes he's got some really nice maps that you might want to do. Use the Alt trick, hold Alt to see if there's any that you need to complete. Every time that you run one of these maps from Kirak, it's going to reset Kirak's purchasable maps right here. The general rule of thumb is it is always worth it to buy the maps if they cost Orbs of Chance, or if they cost Orbs of Alchemy and you don't have it done yet. Don't bother buying maps that you have it complete. I would never buy these. But if it says incomplete and it costs Chance or Alchemy, buy them. But as they get further down, they're going to start to cost you Chaos. No, don't buy these. We ain't got no time to be spending our Chaos Orbs. Chaos Orbs are the, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Chaos Orbs are the main currency of the game. We're not spending those on one map early on. So that's the beginning of mapping, and every map you complete, if you hit Control G, you get this monstrosity. Just copy the Legion guide. That's what we're going to do first. And you're going to have an awesome endgame setup. Okay, now it's time to really have some fun. This is going to be the final section. Now I'm going to show you how to acquire your gear with the trade site, and it's going to be glorious. So, Awakened PoE Trade. So that mod helps you price anything in the game. So if you find anything, you can hold Control and hit D. You can start checking all the different stats that you want to look up on a body armor and hit search, and you can see how valuable it is. This is, I don't know, it's such a massive topic. It's going to have to come in another video. But let's go to the trade site itself, not the regular expression site, the trade site. And I'm going to show you how to get the helmet that you need to make this build come online. I'm also going to show you how to craft the wands that you need, and it's going to be a lot easier than you might think it is. So let's do this step by step. So first of all, we were probably looking at these gems and these setups, right? Okay, so when we go a little bit in the end game, we're going to see that it requires a legendary helm called Kitava's Thirst. And this is essentially going to automate our build for us. It makes it so we only have to press one button. So usually whenever you're trading, if there is a key item for a very powerful build like this, it's going to be very expensive. Luckily for us, it is the exact opposite. This helmet is pretty much free. So we type in Kitava's Thirst Zealot Helmet and we search. And here it is. And you can see it's as cheap as 1 Chaos Orb or 10 Orbs of Alchemy. That is essentially free. And this is just pathofexile.com/trade. This is the trade site. Now, in order to pick a pretty good one, we can set some parameters. So let's go to Show Filters. We're going to go down here to the bottom. And the first thing that we want to do is we want to set the corrupted to no. The reason why we want it not corrupted is so we can change the sockets and the colors to match exactly what we need. If it's corrupted, you can still technically change it, but it's much more expensive. We don't got time for that. So not corrupted. Okay. And now we can even set a maximum price of, let's say, 5 Chaos Orbs. Chaos Orbs are kind of like $1 in PoE. They're like the basic currency. And a Divine is like $150. That's the super Giga Chad currency. Okay. So 5 Chaos Orbs is not too hard for you to find at all. You might say, Rax, I just hit maps and I have no Chaos Orbs, or I only have 2. That's fine. You can play Firestorm all the way through white maps, all the way through yellow maps, especially if you have a nice 5-link. And we're going to craft some nice wands right now, which are going to help us. First thing we do is we're going to go for the helmet that we need for our real build. Search. Okay. And here are a bunch of Kitava's Thirst. The max price won't be over 5, and it won't be corrupted. Excellent. Now, the most important role here is the mana. The more mana we have, the more damage we will deal. So if we click on the mana, it's going to sort by the highest one first. It goes 30 to 50. You see that on the left. And this one's only 4 Chaos Orbs for a 49 out of 50 mana Kitava's helmet. That's amazing. Okay, if you want to be really cute, you can hit this. It's going to pick all of the affixes. And then you can put the maximum mana min at 50. So you want to know what? I just want a perfect one. Is there a perfect one for under 5? And there isn't. If we remove this, the cheapest perfect one is 20. But we definitely don't want to pay 16 extra chaos for 1 mana. Not worth it. So we set the minimum at 49. And then we set the max price at 5. And we can see whichever one is the cheapest. There's only 2. Perfect. This is an absolute steal for 4 Chaos Orbs. But maybe if we make the max 48, maybe we can get it for like 2 or something. It's whatever. The whole point is you can get it extremely cheap. All right? So that's the first thing. Let's go back over here. So this is telling me I want a profane wand. Now, when you read, if you read in depth about the guide that Zizarin put out, or you listen to the video, he explains to you that cast speed and mana is like everything in this build. Casting faster, more mana, and that's because of the way Archmage works. If you read Archmage, you get added lightning damage per your unreserved mana. Reserving your mana is with those auras blocking it off. So the more mana you have, 20% of a big pool of mana is a ton of lightning damage. That's the entire idea. So the implicit roll, the roll that's guaranteed on a profane wand, is 14% increased cast speed. That's one of our most prized stats. So we want a profane wand, and then we want to try to craft cast speed, mana, and then spell damage if we can get it. Mana regen would be good, anything like that. Okay? And we want 2 of them, and that's what we're going to use. So I'm going to show you step by step how I would do this. So let's go over here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to search for a profane wand. On the rarity, we want it to be, well, actually, it could be normal or magic. Let's just pick non-unique, because we can't craft really on a unique. So a non-unique profane wand. We're going to go down here, and one kind of a little bit more of an advanced thing is you can set a certain item level. The item level of the profane wand is going to determine how powerful the affixes are that roll on it. For example, if you get a really shitty profane wand that's like eye level, I don't know, I'm just making up numbers. Let's say it's eye level 20. I don't think it's even possible, but let's just pretend it was. If it's eye level 20, then when you're crafting on it, affixes have different tiers. Tier 1 is the best, and whatever. Tier 10 is the worst, whatever tiers they roll to. So tier 10 is terrible. So if I have a baby profane wand, it might only be possible to roll up to tier 3 cast speed. I cannot get tier 2 cast speed, and I can't get tier 1. And the same thing with mana, which means I'm missing the opportunity to get the Giga Chad rolls. So if you put it at, you could look this up. There's POE resources to understand what the minimum item levels are. I believe off the top of my head, it's 83 for profane wands to get the really nice rolls. It might be 85, but I think it's 83. So that's why I'm putting this number here. Okay. So we're searching for any profane wand that's not unique. That's item level 83. And again, we want it not corrupted because we're going to manipulate it. We're going to craft on it. If it was corrupted, it means you can't mess with it. Search. And I can take literally anything. I could take this white one. I could take this yellow one. Anything. It doesn't matter. The way that you would trade is you would click Direct Whisper for 6 chaos. Okay. This will be a nice tutorial on how to trade. Hopefully he responds. I'm making a video, so I'm sure he won't. Okay, he's not messaging me. I'm crying. Let's try this guy. Can I get this for 7 chaos? Spending 7 chaos on you guys. That's how much I love you guys. Okay, you accept. You hit shift. You grab the 7 chaos. Then you go to their hideout. Feels like a melee. Here we go. Click the little portal under his name to teleport. The person with the item opens the trade. You give him the 7 chaos. He gives you the wand. You hit accept, you whisper him, and you say, thank you. Back to our hideout. And now it's time to have some fun. So how are we going to craft on this? So first of all, on a lot of items, it is a very, I don't know if it matters on this particular craft, but it's a good habit to get in. It's a good habit to get into anyway for like armors or anything like that. There are a lot of cases where having quality on your item gives you better stuff. So, since this is a weapon, we'll take a whetstone and we just upgrade this. I don't know if this matters because this is just the physical damage, which doesn't matter at all for what we're doing anyway. But it's a good, I want to show you for the habit. So quality it up. Okay. And then what we're going to, one way you could do it very simply is just use alchemy orbs. You just do this and boom, and see what you get. Remember what Zizarin said. Remember what it said in the POB. You don't have to be an expert in this. Cast speed is godly. Mana is godly. And then spell damage, something like that, right? Well, just look at it. The cast speed is always there. That's the implicit, so we don't care about that. But it's Fire damage, that's dog shit. Mana regen is okay, but if you hold Alt, the mana regen at the bottom is only tier 4. That's bad. It's not a very high one. Chance to shock elemental damage with attack skills. This is not cast speed and mana and spell damage. It's not what we were looking for. So you'd be like, God, how do I actually make this good? There is a beautiful mechanic called essences. What the essences do is they make it yellow, they make it rare, but they guarantee one stat to be on there. So you pick you pick like your top stat that you must have, and you use that one. So if I go to my Essence tab over here, we're looking for the one that has cast speed. This one. Shrieking Essence of Misery. At the top, you can see one-handed weapon guarantees 25 to 28 cast speed. That's almost perfect. It's incredible. What would you do if you didn't have the correct essence? Well, we can go to the brand new area, King's March, and they have a beautiful little currency exchange. This is a brand new feature they just put in the game. Okay, it's very easy to understand. I want those essences. Okay, essence. Damn, I can't remember which one it was. Oh, but I can remember it's cast speed. Okay, there we go. Is this the cast speed one? No, that's attack speed. Is this the cast speed? Okay, it's misery. Misery, misery, misery. These are just higher and higher tiers of these essences. Maybe when you're starting out, you're very poor. You can't afford a deafening essence of misery. So you start with the baby one. I'll pick the baby one. Okay. I have chaos orbs. Maybe you don't have very many. Maybe you only have like 3 after buying a wand. Okay. So it's about 1 to 1.8 right now. Okay. So I want 1 and I'll give you 2. And there, the transaction is complete. You can control left click to take it. And now we've got the Screaming Essence of Misery. Press F5 with Awaken POE Trade to teleport to your hideout. You can also type /hideout like that. It will teleport you. Now let's try it again. Now we craft it with this and read it one more time. It's guaranteed 24%, 21 to 24 cast speed. So we're automatically going to get our best stat. But can we also get spell damage and mana? Let's see. Okay. So this is super, super great for throwing one essence in here. I got mana. It's a terrible roll. It's tier 11, but at least I got mana on it. And I also have tier 2 lightning damage to spells. That's pretty great for just starting out. It's way better than the piece of shit I was using in the campaign. And all we did was spend 7 chaos on the base, and then we spent 2 on 1 essence. The way that we picked the essence is we knew from the guide that we wanted a cast speed. So I just looked up in the currency exchange, I typed cast speed. I understand that it's the essences of misery, and I'm poor, so I bought the cheap one. Okay? Now, same rules as before. They don't change. 3 prefixes and 3 suffixes. So I have mana, and I have cast speed, and I have flat damage to spells. The one that I was missing was spell damage, right? Spell damage is another really good one. Okay. Well, that's what I'm going to put on here. Go to the crafting bench. And we type in spell damage right here. You know, the ones, maybe this is just way too rich for me, but maybe I've got 8 alterations. Boom. There you go. I made the wand that Zizarin recommended to me. It's got cast speed on it. It's the right base, which has 14 cast speed. I got some flat damage to spells. I got some mana, and I got some spell damage. Took me 1 essence. Okay? Maybe it'll take you 2 or 3 to get something decent. And then you would do the exact same thing. Go back to the trade. You need 2 of them. Okay, fine. Buy another profane wand, find a good one, send the message, they accept, click the thing to their hideout. The person with the item opens the trade. So if you're going to them, they have the item, they open the trade. If someone whispers you and you have the item, you right-click their name and open the trade. Be nice to them. It's karma. What goes around comes around. If they made a nice transaction with you, say thank you. It's just a good habit, not only in video games, but in life, right? Okay? And then you go get the essence that you need, and there you go. And you can do similar things with other items. So for example, if you're really lacking fire res and your chest piece really sucks, you might be able to search for a very cheap chest piece with the sockets that you want. Let me show you. Clear. I want any body armor. Okay, excuse me. Here, item category, body armor. Let's do it like this. Is there a search button for this? No. Where is it? Body armor. Boom. Okay. I would like it to be rare. Okay. I want my 6 link. You want to what? I'm just going for it. I want 6 sockets, 6 links, 4, or is it 5? 5 and 1? Is it 5 and 1? Let's see. Check the guide with Kitava's Thirst. Boom. 5 blue, 1 red. I don't want it to be corrupted. Okay. Search. There we go. For 8 chaos only, you can get a 6 linked armor. It's incredible. Then you could say, okay, what is he recommending? Spell suppression, life, fire res, cold res. Let's say you have no fire res at all. Well, then maybe you go back to the market, search for fire res on the essence, buy one, and then throw it on that armor until you get something decent, dual res with life. Craft something on it, and you got a 6 link for 8 chaos, plus 2 for the essence, plus 6 alts for the enchant or whatever. Use Firestorm in order to clear through the maps. And then one final thing I must mention is with this particular build, it uses Ice Nova of Frostbolts. This is a transfigured gem. What that means is you need to do the lab. You will have already done 3 of them by the time you get to this point in the video. You've done 3 labs already, so you kind of understand it. There's an altar there that says, take a gem and transfigure it into another gem of the same color. Sorry, I got the hiccups. So you go over here and you buy any blue gem. Okay, this one, boom, whatever, doesn't matter. And then you throw it into the altar and you're praying that it turns into Ice Nova of Frostbolts. And if you don't get it, unfortunately, you just got to go again and again and again. You'll get really good at the lab this way. Otherwise, you can buy it off the auction house, but it's expensive. So let's take out the gem. Control D to check the price. It's 120 chaos. Yikes. So it looks like some of you guys are going to be doing the lab. Not every build is like this, but in order for this build to work, you got to do the lab to get Ice Nova of Frostbolts or farm 120 chaos. Just do the lab for most people. It'll build some mastery for the lab. You also need this transfigured gem, Frostblink of Wintry Blast. They're both blue. And this one's going for 80 chaos. This build is very popular. It's very good. So those are the 2 gems you got to get from the lab, or you got to farm the currency with Firestorm, whichever one you prefer. I was way too lazy, so I just bought the gem. That should be the final thing that you need to actually start your journey. Now you know how to get your Kitava's helmet with the POE trading thing. You know how to get your 6 link. I just showed you with the body armor and the 6 links, not corrupted. There you go. Slam some essences in it. And we just crafted this wand. You can rewind it, go back and watch how I did it. Follow it step by step. I promise you, you can do it too. I can't wait to see the comments on the YouTube video saying, Rax, I crafted my profane wand easy. I'm shredding everything. I know you can do it. I know Kung Fu. All right. Well, that's it, everybody. With all of that, we should have gone from level 1, never played the game before, all the way into maps with our crafted gear and our Kitava's helmet and our 6-link. And it wasn't even that expensive, and we did the lab for our transfigured gems. I have 2 questions for you guys, or 1 comment and 1 question. If you guys have any further questions, I stream every day. If you're still stuck, you can always come by the stream on YouTube or Twitch, twitch.tv/Raxxanterax. I would love to help you. And my chat is really smart, man. A lot of them have like 10,000 hours in the game. They help me every single day. They help other people. I love having them around. So thank you to all of them. Come by with your questions and let's get you into this game. I want you to be loving Path of Exile. I don't want you to be intimidated by it at all. The other thing that I would ask of you, if you feel like it, leave me a comment and tell me, was this video helpful for you? And specifically, what parts were helpful or what parts weren't helpful? I want to make the content that you guys want to watch and is helpful for you. And if I can learn to be a better content creator, I can make these guides for PoE 2, for the Diablo 4 expansion, for everything in the future, for Last Epoch, and for all the great ARPGs to come. If you leave me a comment, I will read it. I would appreciate the feedback, positive or negative, and I appreciate you guys. I want to see you in the game. I want to see you making the Archmages. I want everyone to dominate. Thank you.